Hello, Cameron. How are you doing today?
Good man. How are you?
Not too bad. So Cam, have you watched any of the Olympics?
Yeah. Yes, a little bit.
Yep.
Not a lot, but a little bit. And
Yeah.
you know what? I like the Olympics.
I love the Olympics. I am an Olympics respecter. I am
Yeah.
an Olympics enjoyer.
I think the whole
Um,
vibe of it is very cool, and I think it's one of the
yeah,
few like like areas of sport on that level where like it
yeah,
really is still just about largely still just about like sportsmanship and competition.
yeah. Well, I do have a little bit to say about that.
Yeah, there are areas. Well, that's why I said largely
Yeah,
because I think I know where you're going with that, but
yeah,
um, and also, it's like one of the few places where there's like some legitimate sense of like international cooperation. But again, there's always exceptions to that.
yeah.
But yeah, why do you ask? I think I know
Well,
why
no,
you
no. So
ask.
I was about to say something about that. Although I will say I like the Winter Olympics more than I like the Summer Olympics.
Well, yeah,
Um,
biathlon. Biathlon's the coolest event.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, I watched quite a bit of Olympics this year. I like to watch the boxing. I like to watch the weightlifting, obviously. All that kind of stuff. I do want to just give a quick shout out. Congratulations to all of the athletes from the People's Republic of China. They. I was hoping that they would take home the overall gold total.
No,
Unfortunately,
of course they didn't.
they tied the U.S.
Yeah.
for most golds.
Yeah,
Um,
Thai is fucking dog shit.
yeah.
They could never triumph over the glorious United
Oh,
States.
fuck you. Yeah, but they got 4.
You're wearing our flag on your head right now.
That's ironic.
Oh God.
Yeah, but yeah, China. So they had 40 gold medals, which the U.S. also did. Unfortunately, the U.S. had more total medals, so they take home the victory. But there are a few things that I did want to say about it. I mean, it's like I think it's like quite glaringly obvious, like how much like even stuff like the Olympics is still definitely geared towards promoting like Western hegemony. There was like a story. So there's this kind of controversy going into it too, with like Chinese athletes, especially the swimmers, getting like brutally drug tested, despite the fact that that in terms of like total like failed tests, like as a percentage of total tests, they're like way down towards the bottom. There was, I guess, some attempt by the West of like accusing Chinese of systemic doping, kind of like they did to the Soviet Union back in the day. But so like Chinese swimmers were like complaining because they were getting drug tested like multiple times every single day. Like they were being woken up in their sleep to get drug tested. Then they were trying to like catch naps in between like their practice laps and stuff like that. And then they were getting drug tested then. So like some of them would talk about how they would get woken up in the morning at like 4 a.m. to get drug tested. Then they would get drug tested like late morning, then like early afternoon. And then once they finished, they would get drug tested. Then, like, an hour or two after they fell asleep, they get woken up to get drug tested again. And it was just like this huge, disproportionate amount of drug testing. And then a Reuters report comes out, like, right at the start of these Olympics, that the U.S. anti-doping agency had, apparently been hiding failed tests by American athletes and claimed that the reason that they weren't making these known is because, but then we would turn those athletes into informants on other dopers. And so like this kind of ended up being like this a sort of controversy that was glossed over at the beginning of the Olympics. Um, and I know China was trying to make more hay about this because, like, wait, you're having our athletes get tested all the time for this kind of stuff, but you guys are literally hiding failed drug tests and just claiming, oh, but it's because we turned them into informants for other testers. That's why we didn't make it known to the World Anti-Doping Agency. And I think there is also you can't really can't really overlook the fact that like so Russia was not allowed to compete in these Olympics, and even in like years past, they've had like the Russian Olympic Committee as some sort of like
independent sporting identity.
Yeah, as like a legacy punishment for dopings in the past, and but they're just not allowed to even compete this year because of the
there
invasion.
wasn't even they didn't even let the sports federation compete like separate from the national flag, right?
Yeah, exactly, because of the invasion of Ukraine. But I couldn't help but notice that like Israel was allowed to compete in this, and that even when like the United States illegally invaded Iraq and killed 1 million Iraqis, the U.S. was still always allowed to compete at the Olympics. Every time the U.S. invades somebody, they don't get banned, no matter how legal those invasions are. So I can't really help but like notice all of these sort of contradictions between the way that Western Western hegemony and Western aligned countries are treated compared to anybody who's deemed to be at odds with the West or the U.S. led order. So I did find really, especially with these Olympics, how much it's really used as sort of like I guess soft power to promote, I guess, the justice and the upstandingness of Western countries against, anybody who's labeled as being against them. You're not going to see the U.S. have to compete as U.S. Olympic, committee or whatever, their athletes due to their doping or like increased drug testing. Anyway, I did notice that, but still. I really like to watch the Olympics.
Yeah, the Olympics are cool, man. And look, I don't know. I am not like, I don't know. The Olympics I enjoy, and obviously, there are always going to be glaring examples of like the way that the United States like swings their dick when it comes to like foreign policy, and that will bleed over into things like the Olympics, where it shouldn't, but it does, of course. It does.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still like to see, my countrymen do well in the Olympics because I try to divorce, these people who are just fucking people largely, from like, the actions of their nation state. I think that's been one of the big things that's caused a lot of strife. For example, with the Israeli situation and the invasion and the genocide in Palestine, right? Like, people on both sides are so obsessed with like equating civilians with their fucking actions of like other groups, and it ends up creating this like fucking bizarre scenario where like you hate to see like fucking just normal ass like this school that just got fucking blown up in Palestine. Like there were no fucking Hamas operatives in there, right? But because like they're from Palestine, they've just become like equated with this fucking entity that's beyond.
Well, I mean, I would say there's a pretty clear attempt at like full ethnic cleansing and genocide by Israel.
I'm not. Yeah, so. I agree with you completely. But that being said, there is also like, and I think this term has been weaponized and thrown around in a way that is like massively inappropriate. But there is also a rise in anti-Semitism right now, which like people are too fucking smooth-brained to realize that like just because Israel has managed to convince a huge amount of people, including a huge amount of Jewish people worldwide, that like their actions are inextricable from like the needs of like members of the Jewish faith. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden people can't separate the two, and it's fucking
give me an example of that.
What'd you say?
Just give me an example of that. I mean, I'm reticent to accept any of the framing from the country of Israel on that. I mean, Israel clearly wants to make anti-Zionism inextricable from anti-Semitism.
That's what I'm saying.
That's absolutely that is absolutely their framing. But I'm not going to just accept that and say, there's definitely a rise in anti-Semitism.
That is.
I mean, I would say show me an example of it.
No, but that's the point that I'm making, is that there's this attempt to create this idea that like if you are a Jew, you are either in support of Israel or you are not. And the example I'm making is like, I have Jewish friends who are appalled by the situation and still end up coming up against like fucking nonsense online and this and that. And it's like, these are people that believe in the right thing. But they're getting forced into these like weird pigeonholed situations where like, because of their ethnic identity or their religious identity, it's like they're and a lot of the time that fucking hate is coming from Israelis who are like, you're not a real Jew, or you're not you know what I mean? The whole thing is, so I don't know. It's and I think it's obvious that there are people who are, I hear people in person all the time, like, and I'm not going to out anybody, but like I have coworkers who are like conspiratorial fucking nutcases, and so I'm sure other people do, like, this is just out in the world, who literally will say like, of course this is just like the new Jewish world order and like this and that. And it's like, dude, what the fuck? Like, there are plenty of perfectly normal, decent Jewish people who are not in support of genocide. Like, how do we? So when you're looking for examples, I'm literally just talking anecdotal shit from day-to-day life where I see people blaming, quote unquote, the Jews for what's going on over there. And
I just want to make it clear that like left wing like anti-Zionism or the like pro-Palestine movement, this is like not like, you're not saying that there's like a rise in anti-Semitism just specifically because of the pro-Palestine
this is
movement.
exactly my point though, and this is why it gets so frustrating, is that term has become so loaded that even saying it in this context where I'm attempting to point out exactly what you're describing, it's like, you can't even say the word without people like, just to be clear, like, it's like, yeah, no, I know that. You know what I mean? Like, and I hope our listeners are savvy enough to understand that. I think that is obviously being pushed as like a weaponized narrative. But some people are buying into it. That's the thing. And people like, there are people who are legitimately, who already were, cocked and loaded with the fucking genuine anti-Semitism, during QAnon and stuff, where they're blaming, the Jewish New World Order and shit for, reptilian adrenochrome farms and stuff. Like, those people, they're not smart enough to like notice the psyop, and they're just like, yeah, hell yeah, dude, fuck yeah, it's the Jews. Like, and that is problematic, regardless of the subtext of like Israel trying to feed into that narrative to like back up their, you know what I mean? Like that.
No.
I don't know. It's true anti-Semitism will always be problematic, and I don't think that's like a controversial thing to say.
Yeah, I mean,
just like Islamophobia is inherently problematic.
Yeah,
regardless of the context.
Yeah. I just wanted to make clear that you're not saying that as some like the pro-Palestine movement.
No, yeah, and I guess that's fair. Like, you do have to be extremely careful these days to like. No, I am unequivocally pro-Palestine, and
yeah.
Right. Well, anyway, back to my point. I think that when it comes to the Olympics, like, I don't know. I've been trying to remind myself that like, and this is me, right? I don't speak for the two of us, but I have been trying to remind myself that like, at root, like, my distaste with the foreign policy of the nation that I live in should be, in my eyes, divorced from the fact that I, generally speaking, like, I mean, I'm from here. All of my favorite people on earth are fucking Americans. You know what I mean? Like, and I want better for this country, and that has to come from somewhere, right? And so if I can find opportunities to be proud of where I'm from that feel fair and reasonable, like, it's fucking awesome to watch U.S. men's basketball stomp absolute dick. I like that shit. It feels good. We had a pretty good showing in indoor volleyball. I got to watch the U.S. men's volleyball team fucking rock Brazil. Although I think Brazil ended up winning that, but it was a great match. And I don't know, little moments like that where I feel like I can safely kind of indulge in like a certain type of patriotism that isn't like this bizarre, monster truck rally fucking dog shit, where it's just like, hell yeah, it's nice to see people that are from where I'm from try real hard and do good at fucking badminton.
Yeah, I definitely didn't refer to US at all.
Yeah, I know you don't, but that's, I don't know, and I don't necessarily even have thoughts on that. I just like, it's I don't know. I just feel really conflicted about that, because it's just a bummer. Like, I don't What am I trying to say? What am I trying to say, Evan? I think like
I don't know.
sometimes
I don't know what you're trying to say.
It just feels really gloomy in like a deeply and unavoidably existential way to like decide that like the place where I live and will likely never not live because of like just financial whatever is just like some like doomed evil entity, and like carrying the fucking weight of that around is fine, but to feel like there's no recourse to feeling positive about it ever, that just feels so like awful and dark. And maybe that's
I mean, but I like to watch like athletes from like smaller countries who never get like, you know what I mean, like a boxer from Uzbekistan like taking gold in his weight class and shit like that.
100%.
Like I like to see a lot of these like smaller countries that generally speaking they don't get a lot of play on the world stage. I like to see them come out and fucking dominate, you know what I mean? Like the Bulgarian who won his weight class for fucking, I mean, Bulgarians are always really good at powerlifting and shit, but the Bulgarian who won like, what was it, the 73 kilogram weight class for men's weightlifting and shit, and he set the world record. First he beat the previous Olympic record that had been set by somebody else in the same tournament, and then he beat the world record with his final lift.
Yeah.
No,
and to clarify, I like that shit too. Yeah. I don't know. I like the Olympics as a global unifying event. I enjoy that, right? So it's not like I'm sitting there booing. I don't fucking care. You know what I mean? You know me. I'm not some big sports guy. If there's a match involving the U.S., though, I root for the U.S. Like I want to see them fucking win. But dude, how about our homeboy from Cuba who just won his like 5th straight gold medal?
Came back out of retirement.
Yeah,
he's
like
comes
42
out of retirement.
years old. Dude's built like a brick shithouse.
Dude, yeah.
And if you look at the old pictures, he has really pronounced canines.
Yeah,
and he used to have them gold plated. So he had these massive gold fucking vampire teeth.
Yeah.
Which he has since, I think he reached, his mid-30s and was like, okay, I gotta just get new teeth.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, I don't know. I like that shit, too.
I'm getting his name real quick just so that we can give him a shout. Yeah. Mijaín Lopez, yeah. That's his name. But yeah, 41 years old, comes out of retirement. And then there was a beautiful moment where they're, like, showing, like, where he keeps, like, all of his gold medals. And he's just got this big picture of Fidel Castro on the wall. And then just stacked all of his gold medals around it. It was awesome.
100%. And, I again, if the clarification's necessary, it's not like I am, like, engaging in some, like, Cold War type fucking, fuck these fucking, like, no, I don't know. I just don't, like, go out of my way to be like, fuck America, because, like, I just genuinely don't feel that way. And when I say that, I'm thinking of just like average, normal ass fucking people who are caught up in the meat grinder like the rest of us, which is the vast majority, I think, of Americans. Like I think most people, even if we're like at some level complicit in the machine, it's not the goal of the average American citizen to like grind everyone on earth into dust. We inhabit that. We're in the belly of the beast, but like, come on, I don't know. If somebody gets really good at water polo, fuck yeah.
No.
I don't know. That's me. That's my take. And I know that that it is what it is. Maybe that's not maybe that's not hip in the fucking leftist thought sphere, but but I'm cool with it.
Confirmed patriotic socialist Cameron. No.
I don't know. I don't think
Pat
that's
sock.
Is that?
I know. I'm being facetious.
Well,
Pat
I don't know. I dude. To be honest, I'm not.
Losers.
I'm not as into like theory. Maybe I don't know. I wouldn't say that, but I don't know. Like I said, any patriotism I feel is more closely tied to just like a sense of like, acknowledging where I'm from, and like it's I'm patriotic in the sense that hardcore fans are, remember where you come from. I do this for my family. I do this for my friends.
Yeah. Hardcore singers on stage talking about how they're up there with 50 other people singing lyrics, talking about how they're on their own. They've done all this shit. You know?
That's like the kind of like whatever quote unquote patriotism that I'm here for. Whatever. I'm repping Central Mass, dude.
In an endless sea with you, sailing under the rain. The only color of my blues is made of dust and sun. Drifting, it's every day the same. Clouds pass me by, and I'm bound to take my time until I found you. The wind must send me home to you before the harvest starts again. And if the light don't shine on through, will you still recall my name? Drifter, it's every day the same. Clouds pass me by, and I'm bound to take my time until I found you. I've been here and almost everywhere. I sailed the 7 seas while you sat down on your chair. You've been good to me, have I been good to you? Lost in the ends of gravity, soon I'll get back to blue. Drifter, it's every day the same. Clouds pass me by, and I'm bound to take my time. Clouds pass me by, and I'm bound to take my time until I find you.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. The Olympics, though, are cool. And also shout out to Imane Khalif from Algeria.
Yeah, Imane Khalif, winning the gold after all that crazy bullshit.
Yeah, dude. Oh, that was such a fucking dog shit story. That fucking Italian cop, dude. Like, the whole, like... I fear for
I've never been punched in my face so hard. It's like, yeah, Doug, you're dropping your gloves and taking like a straight right to the fucking jaw, dude. Like, what are you doing?
It's like there's two takeaways from that. It's either like you're making some sort of bullshit political statement, in which case, like, fuck you, you're an asshole, or like you've made it to the Olympics and somehow like flubbed your way in without ever really fighting a serious opponent, and then also like, fuck you, you're an asshole. Like, you don't get to the top of the fucking world amateur boxing circuit and then all of a sudden be like, oh my god, this is crazy, she's so strong. Like, yeah, dude. Yes.
Oh, dude, that was the best. Yeah, she said
your sport is getting
it's
punched.
up to the Olympic Committee judges to decide whether or not. Like, she like literally tried to say, she was like, I've never been hit so hard in my life. I guess it's just up to the IOC judges to decide the match. It was like, no, you quit, you dumb fuck, and they've already decided that she's eligible.
Yeah.
like what the fuck? And then
and
later on, like a couple days later, tried to apologize for saying that, like, no, she won fairly. Sorry about that. And then she was awarded money by the International Boxing Commission, the ones who disqualified Imane Khalif last year.
But they've also
awarded gold medal money to that Italian boxer this year.
She's also been that boxing promotion has been largely disavowed by like every other major. Now, and granted, boxing and boxing promotions are like notoriously dog shit and corrupt, like all of them. It's one of the most fucking sketchy sports on earth. That and sumo wrestling, actually. Did you know that? Yeah. Sumo wrestling is like almost entirely Yakuza controlled, and like the matches are regularly just like completely fixed. But it's also awesome to watch. I don't know if you've ever watched it.
And so is boxing. So
boxing's great.
Yeah.
Boxing is like probably the most intense combat sport that I can sit and enjoy.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't really like MMA, but I love boxing.
When boxing turns into too much of a bloodbath, even that I like, because I don't know, I do feel some sort of weird ethical constraint against like watching people like beat each other to death and being like, oh, that's 5 years off his life right there. Like, it's hard for me to feel too much enjoyment from that, but you know, whatever. I respect the hustle and the training, and like, it's obviously incredibly difficult, and you know, just one of the most like actually effective, legitimate combat sports on earth. That and like true like wrestling, and then whatever like. Isn't it? Do you think it's weird that there's no jiu-jitsu in the Olympics?
Yeah. It's just judo, right?
Yeah,
judo. Greco-Roman wrestling, boxing.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different types of. There's like freestyle wrestling, Greco-Roman wrestling. I think they need to bring back pankration.
Yeah,
it's like no holds barred, like fucking ancient Greek, like MMA, basically. Where it's just
naked. You have to fight naked.
Ass beating, dude.
Just fucking whacking people in the head. Yeah,
dude, that was one of my favorite takes after this. So the opening ceremonies, obviously, there was like a lot of stupid controversy because they like whatever. It was artistic, and Paris has always been. Like,
yeah,
the center
all
of
of the
and...
like libs of TikTok aligned like soy conservatives just rending garments over the fact that they showed headless Marie Antoinette and like a Bacchus like last dinner and shit like that, last supper. Sorry,
yeah,
and all that shit. They were just like, this is satanic. It's disgusting. Like there's children watching this, just absolutely losing their minds.
Yeah, well, so like France is like a hotbed of like neo-Nazi fucking white nationalist bullshit, and has been for in a major way for the last like 10-15 years, and that's existed everywhere in Western Europe and the West in general forever, but it's really gained traction in the last few years, and it's very popular, and like it's just interesting to see like all the fucking pearl clutching that went on after that. And you know what? I thought the opening ceremonies were kind of whatever. Like, I don't really care about that.
Yeah,
but it's
Gojira
cool.
was sick.
So that's the thing. Gojira, not my favorite band of all time, but like pretty rad to see a legitimate like extreme metal band perform in the Olympics. That was cool. And the way that they were staged was pretty neat.
Yeah, they were like tethered onto the building so that they wouldn't fall off and shit. Yeah.
They should have just played like The Art of Dying with that fucking like cool like clicky drum intro.
I know.
But no, they played, you know, the Sayra or whatever. The old revolutionary song. That's pretty cool. I don't know. The Olympics in general are pretty interesting. And then obviously your fucking boy at the closing ceremonies.
I haven't watched it yet, Tom Cruise.
Yeah, so obviously, and do they always do that where the Olympics closing ceremonies are a lead into the next Olympics? Is that a norm, or is that a new thing they're trying to establish? Because I guess this year, because the next one in 28 is in LA, they themed the closing ceremonies around LA. So they had Snoop Dogg perform, they had like RHCP played, and then Tom Cruise, you know, biggest box office LA actor, like jumped off the roof of the stadium and then like grabbed the flag and rode away on his motorcycle. And he looks like a bloated, puffy fucking weirdo. Like the last 5 years,
he's like 60 years old now. He's starting to look it.
He looked pretty great until like a few years ago. I think he's had some like filler and shit, and it's looking rough.
Like he's still in great shape, but his face looks a little weird now.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. When they play that like that like insane like double quarterback football scene in Top Gun 2. He's shredded. I mean, I think he was like 59 at that point. The most jacked 59-year-old you've ever seen. Definitely on HGH, but like whatever, good for him. Who fucking cares? I don't care.
Yeah, he's an action star. He's clearly on a stack.
Yeah. I don't care if people do that for like recreational purposes.
Yeah.
Do your fucking thing. That was cool. I don't know. And those are moments where I think it's perfectly acceptable to feel patriotic. It's like, yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah, dude. You don't see fucking Jacques Chirac jumping off the Olympic Stadium. No, it's the President of the United States, Tom Cruise, dude.
President Cruz.
Dude, I think he could get elected president. I really do. That's insane, but I think we're at that point. Like, if Tom ran...
Our first Scientologist president.
That would be awesome, dude. That would be awesome.
Yeah, dude.
I'd probably vote for him just to see what happens. Get the fucking Scientology ticket up there.
Yeah.
And fucking David
Mandatory
Miscavige
Dianetics in school curriculum.
Dude, David Miscavige is just like in the wings like, yes.
Yeah, Chief of Staff David Miscavige,
Oh my god, dude. Literally, like, finally there would be like an actual just like shadow cabal of like legitimate fucking kooks running the show.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Olympics are cool though.
All right, well... Oh, yeah, what were you going to say?
What? No, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, I guess we're about 26 minutes in now, so I guess why don't we hit him with the theme music?
No, I'm going to put I'll figure out a good spot at the start to put the theme music.
Yeah.
There's
anyway, now that we're halfway into the episode, in case you weren't aware, you're listening to Left Unread coming back at you right now. My name's Evan. This is Cam.
Hi, it's me, Cam. What did you call me? The patriotic socialist?
Yeah, the Pat Sock.
I don't know. I think
Sock
I'm
Cam.
just I'm a what am I?
No, that was a joke.
I know. I like people, and I believe in the ability of people to coalesce and create a better world for each other. Yeah. We just got to do it.
Yeah.
Which I know sounds fucking hokey, but like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Evan's like, nah, I don't know. I think there might need to be missiles. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it might take some fucking executions, but
How compelling. Please take the ball now.
excellent, yes. Shut up, hippie.
Dig the fucking ditch.
Excellent. Now please face the wall.
Yeah. How compelling, yes. Please face the wall now, sir.
All right. So what else is going on? Obviously.
I don't know. I kind of want to do like bigger episode on it, but like, dude, the fucking UK, like, what the fuck? Like, they're just. I'm sorry, dude. Are they like? I haven't really followed this that much. Are they just like straight up having like pogroms in the UK?
Yeah,
right
there are
like
legitimate. I mean, I don't know if it's fair
there's like
to call
racial
them pogroms
checkpoints.
Yet, because that might like devalue how intense pogroms actually
Yeah.
are. But like they're getting there. It's the
they have like fucking like right wing like groups setting up like impromptu racial checkpoints and shit.
Yeah.
It's like this isn't and like
Well,
I saw stuff like that's being said and like I was thinking, I was like, oh, that can't be like actually like how bad it is, right? It's not like quite like that. And then like I'm seeing like people that like I follow and shit like that from the UK on Twitter and stuff like that talking about like, no, dude, there's like straight up fucking like racial checkpoints and shit. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, man, it's crazy, and it's very clear that we in the U.S. I think should be really paying attention to this.
Yeah,
because it's evidence of like the type of weird shit that we can probably expect, in our near future, on a grander scale, with obviously different like catalysts and stuff, but the same basic like bullshit neo-Nazi ideology at the core.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the UK and the US like political like movements oftentimes tend to sort of mirror each other.
Yeah, they sort of
maybe like the
not
UK
mirror.
happening.
They
like the UK kind of predicts stuff that's gonna then happen. Like like Brexit right before Trump's election, and then the Jeremy Corbyn stuff right before the Bernie stuff. Like there's like a very like mirroring. I think just like as both countries have similarly decaying material conditions at like the same rates, you're seeing a lot of the same like political movements sort of swell out of that.
Yeah, 100%. It's really, really disturbing, and I think that I it's tough because on the one hand, I really don't want to play into like the fucking MSNBC, CNN narrative of like, fucking if Donald Trump gets elected, it's the end of the world. Like, okay, that I think as a specific statement is probably like fundamentally flawed. That doesn't mean I don't think the end of the fucking world is coming, right? Like, so there will probably be some nonsense if the coconut party gets fucking elected.
Because I mean, dude, fucking like Kamala has already said that she's going to continue the same insanely aggro anti-immigrant like border policies. That the fuck that
and
Biden
yet people
has,
are
Biden was fucking campaigning on the fact that he had a harsher border policy than fucking Trump did.
Yeah.
And like remember the kids in cages things?
Yeah.
Now like liberals were saying in like 2020 there's kids in cages, we need to get Trump out. And now they're like it's 2024 and they're like we need to put these fucking kids in cages.
Yeah.
Like the fuck like and you know what I mean? So it's just like it doesn't really matter who gets elected. Like there's like a very clear like burgeoning anti-immigrant group throughout the political spectrum going on in the US right now.
And whether it's rooted in like this sort of genuine distrust or hatred of immigrants, or it's like this even potentially more like disturbing and distressing cynicism on the part of like and like narcissism and nihilism on the part of like specifically Democratic politicians, where it's just like, well, whatever, we'll do what we got to do to like play hardball and win an election.
It's like, does it really matter if you win an election if you just adopt the policies of the other side?
Yeah,
like at that
exactly.
point, it's like just so cynical.
Now I know that there's a lot of talk, and dude, I'm so fucking checked out. Like I read a little bit about this every week, and then kind of have to like just stop because it bums me out too much. But Kamala Harris did finally say the word ceasefire. I know that, and I suspect that she's that's just like vote baiting, but I don't know. It's interesting. Some people are getting pretty excited. It's interesting to me to see like how many people that were like vehemently anti Joe Biden are getting so mobilized by the Kamala ticket, because it's like you said, I think policy wise, there's not going to be a huge difference, right? Like I think we're looking at, you know, more of the same on that front. So is it really just as simple as like people like, has it really just come down to like identity politics, and like people are just like, and granted, there's maybe a small amount of that which is like legitimate, you know, where it's like, okay, yes, I guess the optics matter a little bit, but like, do they matter enough to like account for what feels like a really huge upswing in support? And like, I don't know, it's just interesting to me.
I mean, I think, yeah, so like, here's the thing, and you're starting to really see, like, my thing with Kamala has always been like her problem is one of exposure. Like, there was a reason that she didn't even make it to the primaries in 2020. And like, so like, you saw this like huge upswell of support for the Democrats, obviously, when Joe Biden dropped out and Kamala started. And I think part of that is because, like, okay, she's the first like major candidate on the ticket under the age of like 70 since 2012.
Yeah.
Right? I think maybe Hillary and Trump were like late, like 69 or something like that in 2016. I can't remember. Yeah, nice. Like, so this is like, so she's 59, so she's about 60. So she'd still actually be like kind of old historically.
Well, that's the thing. But now we feel like that's like she's young.
Yeah.
She's
so I think that's part of it.
Thing.
Yeah. So I think that's part of it. Obviously, there's an identity part to it too. You know, being the first black woman and also the first Asian woman in general. The first woman, the first black woman, first Asian. You know, all of these things. And I don't want to. Well, she's not the first woman to be a major candidate. You know, there's.
I'm sorry. I thought you were saying if she were elected. Yeah.
No. I'm just saying as a candidate. And so, like, yeah, I think there's this, like, huge, like, upswell of support for her there. But then, like, you saw the first crack happen, which is when the pro-Palestine protesters interrupted one of her speeches, and her reaction was really fucking bad.
Yeah.
Her reaction was, I'm speaking now. If you want Donald Trump to be elected, then you can keep saying that. Otherwise, I'm speaking now. And she had this, like, really, like, Hillary Clinton kind of fucking reaction to it.
I know, and
it was not good.
People are
even her like
that.
hardcore supporters were like, "Man, she looked really bad here." It's like, yeah, that's Kamala, man. She's kind of a fucking idiot. Like, and like the fact of the matter is, like, she supports Israel. She is leading a ticket for one of the two major parties. She supports Israel. She is not going to have a fundamentally different sort of relationship with Israel than Joe Biden has. She might not be as much of a frothing, foaming at the mouth Zionist as Joe Biden is, but I mean, she's still taking AIPAC money. Yeah. They're giving her money because they know that they're going to get her support.
Yeah, I think
we're going to keep funding Israel. We might not at like the same like death drive that like Joe Biden and stuff was, but we're still gonna be supporting them and what they're doing to Palestine. And all of these people who have been showing support for Palestine and protesting, you know, Joe Biden, I'm seeing a lot of them all of a sudden like just throw that whole issue away and be like, well, no, I'm gonna vote Kamala. It's like, okay, so I guess really it wasn't that important to you then, right? Like
yeah, it's I think at most what we can hope for from Kamala is just like a slight improvement in the rhetoric, right?
Yeah.
Which is not really a major win.
Yeah, it's just gonna make you feel better about you know, benefiting from this order again.
Waking you up to close the bar. The streets wet, you can tell by the sound of the cars. Bartender singing Clementine while he's turning around the open sign. sorry. You still hurt me. It seems a long time gone. Maybe the whole thing's wrong. What if she thinks so, but just didn't say so? You drink yourself into slow-mo. Made an angel in the snow. Anything to pass the time. Keep that song out of your mind. Oh my darling. Oh my darling. Oh my darling. Clementine. Sorry, Clementine. Dreadful sorry, Clementine.
Well, and so it's interesting to me, right? Because I have really been spending a lot of time thinking about, and this is sort of reflected in what I was just saying about like my approach to the Olympics and yada yada. Yeah. It's easy to get totally disillusioned with what feels like the doomed fucking state narrative that is, dominant in like online leftist discourse, right? Like I understand fatigue with that because I am massively fatigued with that, right? And you and I have talked about this. I've said this off air in our friend group chat. I am so massively fatigued with like the idea that life is just like not worth living because everything is fucking hell, right? Yeah. That being said, just because you are fatigued with that, which I think is a totally reasonable sensation, it doesn't change the reality of the situation, right? So you can change the way you want to approach that. You can focus on things that make you happy. You can focus on building relationships with other people. But that shouldn't be a pretext for like abandoning your ideals. Does that make sense? Yeah. Right? Like it's like, okay, on the one hand, like I'm the first person who will sit here and say, I get it. Like, dude, I'm also exhausted. I don't want to feel fucking doomed every second of every day. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that you turn around and just decide to support antithetical postures on things that you claim to firmly believe in. Yeah. Right? Yeah. When I talk about that stuff, what I'm talking about is like personal life changes. Like, okay, here's what you do to combat the obvious and very real sense that things are falling apart. Yeah. It's not that you pretend they're not. Right? Like, that's not the solution. Just like in your personal life, it's not the solution to pretend you don't have depression. You know? Like, it's not going to just go away. Yeah. Or like me, like, dude, I have an alcohol problem. You know? I tried just, like, pretending I didn't. And you know what? Still did. So, like... Yeah,
it was still there.
It's still there, right? So, just because you're dissatisfied with the way you feel about something doesn't mean that the causes of that feeling disappear. Or that you, at worst, like, then start to... in, like, some sort of weird, like... Munchausen by proxy, not Munchausen by proxy. What's when kidnappers start to fall in love with when kidnapped people start to fall in love with their kidnappers? Stockholm syndrome. It's like some weird Stockholm syndrome thing where it's like, I'm so fucking sad that I'm just fuck it. She's not Joe Biden, so I'm just going to pretend she's awesome. And it's like, nah, man, she's not. And look, I'm not going to tell anybody who to vote for, but I do think that people need to take a real serious look at like, what do you think the policy differences are actually going to be? And I know people want to feel good. I've heard all the arguments about like why she'll be great, but you know what? I heard all those arguments about Joe Biden.
I heard all those arguments about Barack Obama.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and it doesn't.
How many times are you going to let Lucy hold the football and you go to kick it, and she picks it up, and you just trip and fall. Like,
exactly.
how many times?
And we're all tired. Everyone's tired, and everyone's fucking sad, and different people lean into it in different ways. And like you hear it listening to this show. Like Evan and I don't agree on the finer points of how we approach all this stuff. But like something that I feel like I agree with you on is that it doesn't mean that you capitulate.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it doesn't mean that you capitulate. Just because you're sad and tired doesn't mean that you capitulate. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Tim Walz and Kamala Harris are not your friends if you're on the left. No matter how much they're trying to make overtures.
They're courting
Tim Walz still has pictures of him smiling like an idiot with Bibi Netanyahu.
Yeah, and look, like, do I think that the Kamala Walz ticket is marginally more compelling than the Biden Kamala ticket? Yes, marginally.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the most you'll ever get out of me. Like, it's marginally more acceptable. There are elements of Tim Walz's, like, pro-labor stances that I think are kind of admirable. But people forget, the vice president is largely there to just nab votes. Like, they don't do anything. Unless fucking something happens to the president. The vice president is essentially... What are they, the president?
They're usually just there to eat shit for the president.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like Kamala going to Guatemala and speaking at their, like... Parliament, I'm not sure if it's Parliament or legislature or whatever, and telling them, if you're thinking about coming to the United States, do not come.
Do not come.
Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
I'm gonna come.
One of the best memes of all time, dude. Okay, so let's. Speaking of that, I do think that it's funny. So there are one of my favorite things about the Kamala Walz ticket is nothing to do with like their actual eventual policy. I do find it rewarding to watch them basically adopt like the Trump method of like election politics and watch how much that's clearly flustering Donald Trump.
Yeah.
You know, like it's some of it's really dumb, like the fucking JD Vance's weird thing. But the thing is, like, that shit's working, dude. Like,
that's that's the thing. I remember when people were talking about the weird thing, and I was like, that is not going to work against Trump. Like, you guys still don't understand how to like affect Trump, and that isn't really working against Trump. However, it is working incredibly well against JD Vance.
Well, and
all of those other weird hangers-on who like actually are like weird as fuck, because Trump doesn't really get too involved in like a lot of the like culture war discourse.
No,
like he knows to steer clear of that. Trump gets on stage and talks about Hannibal Lecter and toilets not really flushing shits too efficiently anymore.
Yeah,
like those are the things that Trump talks about. JD Vance talks about basically how women need to be kept locked in basements and used as like baby farms.
Yeah,
like. You know what
and
I
it's
mean?
like, easy, buddy. Listen, I have fetishes as much as the next guy, but like, keep it on the down low.
Yeah, why don't we keep it to the couches there, JD?
Yeah,
all right?
he is so profoundly fucking strange that just the act of being called strange like triggers the fuck out of him, and I like that. I like to see that because fuck him, right?
Yeah,
like,
seriously. I mean, what a disaster!
What a
of a
shit-eating fucking dog shit person.
Yeah, and like the thing is too is like what everybody says. It's that it was really Donald Trump's fucking loser son that he never listens to anyway. I don't know why he listened to him this time, but DJ TJ, who really argued for...
DJ TJ, bro.
Yeah, DJ TJ, Donald Trump Jr., who really argued for JD Vance because they're like friends. And like, here's the thing, Donald Trump Jr. is a fucking loser and like a cocaine addict. And like, is like the most wormy worm on earth. So like, why would you listen to him about this? Like the JD Vance pick, I mean, it really was, I think like the JD Vance pick was really just chosen because like they were trying to run up the score, because at the time they clearly thought Biden was going to stay in the race and like, oh, it doesn't matter who we pick, we'll beat him. And so like now that Biden has dropped out and JD Vance looks like a terrible pick because everybody hates him except for this one small subset of like the conservative movement that's like really like aligned with Peter Thiel.
Yeah.
And so like he's just like such an like juiceless moron, JD Vance.
Yeah. He's got zero juice, dude.
Yeah.
Zero juice. Did you see some reporter asked them, and they weren't even attempting to be snarky. This is a couple days ago, and they were like, "Hey, I want to ask
softball.
I want to ask you like something a little different because we see you up here, and you seem so upset all the time, and you're so riled. What makes you smile?" And he literally got lobbed over the plate like an opportunity to seem like a human being, and he goes, "Fuck you, man! You know what makes me smile? Not getting asked dumbass questions by fucking morons." Like it's like, dude, all right,
it's like
bro.
the guy got lobbed a softball and charged the mound.
Yeah, yes, exactly. It's like
just like
he was like, you know what I don't like being asked questions about? Why I can't smile, dude. I smile all the time. I love my life. Everything's good. Fuck you.
But I am angry right now, so I'm coming off as angry. Yeah, I'm angry. I'm angry about the country. It's like, dude, how did you fuck this one up?
Say something normal, dude.
All you had to do is be like, whoa, what makes me happy? I really like to spend time with my wife and kids.
Yeah.
You know? Bam.
Done deal. And you could literally just say that. You don't even have to embellish it.
Yeah.
That's how fucking off the reservation these people are. Like,
and then also when he was doing an interview and he like offers up this information about how when he was on the phone with Trump being told that he was going to be offered the vice presidential nomination, he was like, so I'm in there and my son's in the room with me, and he just keeps talking to me about Pikachu. Like, I think he was, like, playing, like, a Pokemon game.
Shut the hell up about Pikachu, buddy.
Yeah, he literally says, so I just had to tell him, son, shut the hell up about Pikachu. For once, this is the most important phone call of my life. It's like, dude, why would you say this?
Yeah.
Why would you offer this information? Like, he has no idea how vile and, like, bug-like he is.
Yeah.
That, like, he thinks it's a nice anecdote to talk about telling your 8-year-old kid to shut up about Pikachu. Because you're on the phone.
First of all,
Pikachu's way cooler than you, dude.
Yeah, I'm strongly lapsed, but as ostensibly a lifelong Pokemon fan, I'll take right off the bat.
Yeah.
I will always make. If my kids tell me that they're into Pokemon, I might not know the last 400 to come out.
Yeah,
but I could talk about Pikachu. I know his shit.
Yeah.
I'm actually a Raichu stan. I think people that don't evolve their Pikachus because of the fucking show are idiots. But you do have to be smart about when you do it, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't. You got to pick the right time to evolve to Raichu. But always worth talking about. But yeah, also it's just like, dude, at least pretend to be a normal, likable fucking human being. But they can't even do that because they don't know what it looks like.
Yeah. He's just such a weird, like, just such like a weird freak.
He's a goblin. Yeah. He's a fucking goblin.
Yeah,
and like
another really with this modern conservative movement and like guys like JD Vance, there's like such this like insane psychosexual fucking aspect to it, and like one of the things too is like you can tell the conservatives are like really on their heels, like up against the ropes, because they just keep trying to do the same tactics that the liberals are doing to him. So like you had this like whole meme, and it's like a very organic one that comes up about JD Vance fucking the couch. You know, the whole basis of it being that like he did this while he was like a teenage boy, and young men,
we rub our dicks on shit. If you are the parent of a boy who's either a teenager or approaching teenagerhood, stuff in your house is gonna get fucked. Like So here's the thing: like, the root of the story. It's not even like it's not relatable. The root of it
makes sense because it's like a young like preteen or teenage boy experimenting suddenly with the fact that it feels good to put your dick on
and because we're such a sexually repressed like post-Victorian society, people don't tell their kids like, hey, it's okay to just tug on it, like just do it. Yeah. So I can't speak for you, but I will say I had to learn that shit on my own. I had to figure out how to jerk off normally, and it took me time. Like I didn't fuck couches, but like the stuff's getting jizz on it, dude. Like it's just gonna happen, right? And everyone's we don't even need to talk about it, but I know because I've talked to men outside of this show.
Yeah.
Everyone's introduction to that was a little weird and a little different. We all had our own methods.
Let me just say, it took me a few years to get the technique down in the normal way.
It's a little weird and a little different, okay? So he probably did fuck a couch.
Yeah, maybe.
Or if not, he like rubbed on the fucking drapes or something. Like
right, exactly. Yeah.
Whatever worked for him.
Yep. Yeah, so it's like a very like believable, not that explicit. He masturbated weird when he was a teenage boy. That's believable. It's not that explicit. So then, again, this like repressed psychosexual fucking like I don't even know what going on with conservatives. They have decided that their response to that will be like, oh, I'm not even kidding. This is what they did. Tim Walz jugged, drank a bunch of horse semen to the point that he needed to get his stomach pumped. Like, he just, like, guzzled a gallon of horse cum.
Well, Tim Walz drank so much horse cum.
Yeah. That he had to get his stomach pumped.
I don't think that doesn't hit as hard.
It's like you go from this, like, obviously sexual, but, like you can use language where you're not really, like, getting too explicit about it, to, he guzzled a gallon of horse cum. And it's, like, so absurdly over the top and explicit and weird that, like, it loses the believability. And they keep trying to make this a thing. Like, they've been working really hard to let this, like, somehow break the containment of their weird little circles.
Well, it's like Let's Go Brandon, dude. Like, they tried so hard to have that turn into, like, a major own.
What was it?
Let's Go Brandon.
Oh, yeah.
They try so hard to turn these fucking dumbass things into, like, these massive cultural things, and it's like, nah, man, people in your group will latch onto it, and that's it. There's no
because they're oinking hogs that will eat whatever you throw in the trough.
Yeah, so it's like, fuck it. They'll buy the bumper stickers, but they were going to do that shit anyway. Where's the win there? There's no win.
But yeah, dude, the guzzling horse cum thing, and it's like, see, that's too explicit and weird.
I like that, and I think it would be awesome if Tim Walz, like, managed to, like, own that. I'd be like, hell yeah, dude, are you kidding me?
If he comes out on stage with a gallon of milk and just starts chucking it.
Shit happens when you party in Lake Havasu, brother. I was fucking loaded.
Tim Walz Milk Jug Challenge. Let's go.
100%. I think that that's probably true. But I also do think it'll be funny, and again, no, not that Tim Walz, if he becomes vice president, or JD Vance, will have much to do with anything, but I do think that in a debate, Walz will dog walk JD Vance. Like, I absolutely think he's gonna fucking rock his shit. And that,
I mean, JD Vance is a worm.
Yeah, he's an idiot worm. And Tim Walz, like, regardless of, like, you know, the nitty gritty of it, like, he's got this sort of, like, Midwestern, like, high school teacher vibe, and, like, he seems like he's a smart enough guy, right? Like, I think that he's that would be a funny ass debate. I really do. More compelling than Trump Kamala, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Because I think Tim Walz, of all the people involved in this conversation, probably has the most, like, claim to, like, any sort of intellectual bona fides. And whatever. What are you going to do? I think it'll be, not that it'll make a difference, but I do think that in that debate he will absolutely fucking Shrek JD Vance.
Yeah. Yep.
He's got Shrek vibes, dude.
Yeah, he does.
Big kind of chunky swamp guy.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, well. So it's funny, like, when we started the show, I was saying to Evan, like, dude, I've been so busy, I don't think I have anything to talk about. But obviously that never stopped me.
Yeah.
I'll find a reason to open my fucking mouth.
Yeah, even if it's to chug some horse cum.
Which, I don't even think that's that weird. I think that's, like, a pretty normal thing to do.
Yeah.
So,
Was
there anything else you wanted to touch base on?
Nope, I think that about wraps it up.
Cool. Well, as always, and this will be in our show notes, but we do have a Patreon. And I know we mention it every episode, but to those of you who have donated or who have considered donating, we appreciate that. If you are someone who is with Extra, who has the means and the interest, we do encourage and appreciate anything that you are able to offer us, even if it's for a couple weeks or whatever, whatever you think it is. That helps us massively. Buying books and carving time out of our wage slave existences to try to make this show. And so that will be in the show notes. It's www.patreon.com/leftunread. A lot of our other stuff is Left Unread Pod, but the Patreon is just Left Unread. We managed to sneak in and nab that.
And we do have a new contributor, a new patron, so we'd like to thank them. Coming in at the $5 level, the Mithraic Initiate tier, we have Savannah. So thank you very much, Savannah.
Thanks, Savannah.
Yep.
What an absolute babe you are. We appreciate all of our fucking Patreon hotties who if you donate to our Patreon,
a surprising amount of women are Patreon
what can I say?
subscribers.
We've got a certain raw appeal, I think, to the female sex.
I would assume our audience is largely male just from the subject matter. But apparently, the women out there enjoy hearing us talk about dudes guzzling horse cum. So.
Yeah, well, and I can't say I blame them. But to all of our guys and gals and non-binary pals, we do appreciate your listenership. If you are unable to donate to us on Patreon, we are a grassroots word-of-mouth podcast. So tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your coworkers. we appreciate any opportunity to spread the grand myth of LU to the cosmos, and you can follow us on Twitter, you can email us, and we love hearing from you. And I know Evan's got some cool shit in the tank coming up, and yeah. Did I hit it all?
Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, and if you can also help us spread by word of mouth. You can tell your friends, family.
I just said
your
that.
fellow Olympians. Oh, did you? Okay, yeah. Sorry, I must have dissociated real quick.
That's okay. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's doesn't hurt to say it twice. But yes, tell everybody.
And then you can rate and review us on your podcast.
Oh yeah, you can rate and review us.
Yeah. Hopefully, it's get seen by the algorithm.
Help the algorithm.
And anyway,
see us.
yeah. And don't forget that you can rate and review us. Yep, and you can get it seen by the algorithm.
And also word of mouth. If you want to just.
Also, we do have a Patreon, so
www. All right, so thank you guys. Have a wonderful week, and we will catch you next time on another exciting edition
of Left Unread.
Yeah.
All right. Peace.
É pau, é pedra, é o fim do caminho. É o resto de toco, é um pouco sozinho. É um caco de vidro, é a vida, é o sol. É a noite, é a morte, é o laço, é o anzol. É peroba do campo,
é o nó da madeira,
Cangá,
é o matita pereira,
é madeira de vento,
da ribanceira,
é um mistério profundo,
é o queira ou não queira,
é o vento ventando, é o fim da ladeira, é a viga, é o vão, festa da cuneira.
É a chuva chovendo, é conversa ribeira das águas de março, é o fim da canseira,
é o pé, é o chão,
é a mastradeira,
passarinho na mão,
pedra de atiradeira,
é uma ave no céu,
é uma ave no chão,
é um regato, é uma fonte,
é um pedaço de pão,
é o fundo do poço, é o fim do caminho, no rosto desgosto, é um pouco sozinho, é um estrepe,
é um prego,
é uma ponta,
é um ponto,
é um pino,
engano,
é uma conta,
é um conto,
é um peixe, é um gesto,
é uma prata brilhando,
é a luz da manhã,
é o tijolo chegando,
é a lenha, é o dia, é o fim da picada, é a garrafa de cana, estilhaço na estrada,
é o projeto da casa, é o corpo na cama, é o carro enguiçado, é a lama,
é um passo,
é uma ponte,
é um sapo,
é uma rã
é um resto
de mato
na luz
da manhã.
São as águas de março fechando o verão, é a promessa de vida no teu coração. Uma cobra, é um pau,
É João,
é José,
é um espinho,
na mão,
é um corte,
no pé. São as águas de março fechando o verão, é a promessa de vida no teu coração.
é pau,
É pedra,
é o fim
do caminho,
é um resto,
de toco,
é um pouco,
sozinho. É um passo, é uma ponte,
é um sapo, é uma rã,
é um belo horizonte,
é uma febre terçã.
São as águas de março fechando o verão, é a promessa de vida no teu coração. Pau,
Pedra,
inho,
inho,
peixe,
coco,
oco,
inho,
agro,
hidro,
vida,
ó,
oite,
horte,
aço.
sol.
São as águas de março fechando o verão, é a promessa de vida no teu coração. Badaba, badibaziza, zazaziza, azanamenya, anandede.